Finally, this story is going viral. I finally have good news to share. Let me back up a little bit to explain. So, on Monday, there was a hearing in Congress with all of these incredible health advocates. There was RFK Jr., there's Jillian Michaels, Casey and Callie Mean, Dr. Jordan Peterson, and so many more incredible people. I highly recommend watching the whole thing. It is in my profile. So, they basically talk about how our healthcare system is really our sick care system, and that really good nutrition can solve so many problems, but that is inconvenient for Big Pharma. It's not profitable. So the next day, RFK Jr. is doing a fireside chat, and he says this.
I'll tell you something interesting that happened today, and I actually was going to mention this to Rand, because it was an extraordinary event to me. But Robert Redfield, who I really go after in my Fauci book, kind of hammer and tongs, wrote an editorial in Newsweek magazine today saying that he was endorsing President Trump because President Trump was going to restore American health, and that President Trump, he said, a lot of people might surprise me to see this, but hear me say this, but he has chosen exactly the only person who can do this, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. This was breathtaking to me because this is the guy who's the head of the CDC that I've been criticizing for years. And then this afternoon, he came over and had lunch with me. It's the first time I've ever met him. And the first thing he said to me is, "You got everything right." Wow.
For the last year, I've supported RFK Jr., and I've been called crazy for doing that. And of course, he's been called crazy for just speaking the truth. So this was huge to hear. So this is the article that the former CDC director wrote. And he says, to heal our children, a president must see the possible and lead our nation to act. After more than 40 years in the public health arena, it might surprise some of my colleagues to know that I think President Trump chose the right man for the job, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We know chronic disease is more than 75% of the country's $4 trillion annual healthcare expenditure. And if you guys don't know, we are in quite the deficit with $35 trillion in debt in this country. So actually fixing this problem would be huge. He says our food problem goes well beyond obesity, that pesticides can cause things like ADHD, and that Kennedy is right. All three of the principal health agencies suffer from agency capture. A large portion of the FDA's budget is provided by pharmaceutical companies. NIH is cozy with biomedical and pharmaceutical companies, and its scientists are allowed to collect royalties on drugs NIH licenses to pharma, a huge conflict of interest. And as the former director of the CDC, I know the agency can be influenced by special interest groups. But it doesn't stop at health agencies. It's also about the Department of Agriculture. We need a wholesome food supply and to protect our small farmers. He says critics say our public health system has failed chronic disease patients, especially children. I must agree, and I'm even more frustrated that it's gotten steadily worse during my career. He quotes Kennedy saying, within 2 years, we will watch the chronic disease burden lift dramatically. And he ends with, I believe him. But guys, Kennedy can't do this alone. We all know that there's a problem. Every time that there is an issue, it shouldn't just be, here's another pill. We should be getting down to the root causes and actually fixing the problem and having a healthy generation. I mean, think about this. Italy is number 6 in life expectancy, and America, we spend more on healthcare than any other country. And we are 47th in life expectancy. If that doesn't tell you that there's a problem, I don't know what will. And this is why the presidential election, yes, it's important, but so are the congressional races. So who is running for House of Representatives? Who is running for your state senator? Reach out to them, look into their policies. Are they willing to touch this subject? If you are someone that has thought Kennedy has been crazy this whole time, I really encourage you to watch that hearing and to try to find what the crazy is, because you really will just hear the truth. But as always, let me know your thoughts and make sure you're following me for more.